What's good, you guys? So today we're going to be going over some of the mistakes people make when trying to type someone in Enneagram. Or more so even, how to type someone. What should your approach be when trying to type someone in Enneagram? It's heavily behavioral. And in some ways, it makes things easier. But in some ways, it decapitates things. You can open the PDB wiki and you can look at the trait structure. So Naranjo, there is huge basis for behavior. But can you truly understand the type just by looking at those traits? That's the question, because I believe many people, that's how they learn Enneagram. Let's look at the traits, apply it. They don't understand the type. So is that enough? The answer is no. Even the trait structure with the characteristics that you see on the BDB wiki, the truth is that those are other characteristics. Those are actually characteristics that are not as important as the main neurotic need of the type. The sexual 2 is like the biggest victim of this. That's why people were arguing back and forth, because the trait structure paints a different picture. If you just read that, then you're going to be thinking, wow, it's like the sexual 8. They're very similar. You read the book, it paints a full picture. You need to read the subtype book. With behaviors, there is a problem, because at the same time, they're easy. You can spot them, and oftentimes you can type people correctly because of those behaviors. Those certain behaviors come and are derived from certain passions. But then you're kind of stuck with types that share the same behavior for different reasons. 5 and 9, passive, docile, right? Introverted. How many of you guys have thought that you one or the other? 2 and 7, both hedonistic types, right? Both flaky, both non-committal in many ways. So behaviors, they're good. But then when you have to differentiate types, that's where you fall flat. You need to look at passions and fixations. And this is honestly like the most basic level of Enneagram. How many people do you see actually using the passion of a type as an argumentation? How often is that? Passion and fixations are the basis of what makes a type. All of your behaviors are there because they're derived from a passion. With new understanding of Naranjo, with the social 2 pandemic and all of that, we now started thinking this is someone who doesn't need anyone. Oh, they're so arrogant, they're so prideful, blah, 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 blah. Where is the passion? Where is the fixation of false abundance? Which, by the way, doesn't just operate as a person who gives 0 fucks and does whatever he wants. So now we are completely butchering a whole type because we're just focusing on the behaviors. Well, they're seductive, they're intense, they're chaotic, la 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 la. The passion is lost. Now, if you actually look at the Enneagram 2, you have a passion of pride. Passion of pride, which at the end of the day, with obviously fixation of false abundance, makes someone feel as they have so much love to give to the world. They're the most loving, they're the most giving, they're the most generous, they're the most full of love. And that's the self-perception they have of themselves. That's why they don't depend on other people, because they're the ones giving love. They make you dependent on them. You need them. And as long as you need them, feeds their ego. And that's a true Enneagram 2. Not just a person who is an arrogant douchebag that no one really likes and he doesn't give a fuck about anyone because his ego is so big. That's not an Enneagram 2, right? A true Enneagram 2 relies on flattery. A true Enneagram 2 has pride, which makes him so giving and so fixated on being that way, seeing himself that way. Passion is a psychological, emotional, compulsive drive. That's what this is. At the end of the day, that's all passion is. Now, you're going to be asking me, oh, are we aware of our passion? The answer is it's often unconscious. So the way that actually Enneagram 2, social 2, any 2 acts like is because of pride as their passion. If someone lacks the passion, it doesn't matter if you think they have this X, Y, and Z behavior. Doesn't mean shit. You're probably looking at the wrong thing. So when we have this compulsive drive, this feeling, and passion in a sense is an emotional, it's considered more emotional in nature. Fixation is often described as a mental trap. It's sort of a justification to your passion. In most simplistic terms, it justifies your passion, which, by the way, then creates a cycle of indulgence. That passion gets activated, it's a feeling, it's a compulsion. Fixation simply justifies your initial feelings, your initial desires, your initial indulgence. It justifies that behavior. And then you go cycle, cycle, cycle. So then you need to break it. That's all Enneagram is. It's breaking the pattern. And Enneagram 4, browsing on the internet, right? Maybe they're like trying to be a writer, a singer, whatever. They see someone their age, maybe even younger, doing better than they are. Passion gets activated. Passion of envy. A feeling of lack. This constant feeling, an emotional state of lacking, not being good enough. This gets activated. I'm not good. I'm lacking something. They have something. They're already this age and I don't have shit. Right? False deficiency gets activated as the fixation justifying those feelings. Those initial feelings that you are not good enough. That you feel lacking. You know why you feel that? Because you are lacking. Because you are not good enough. Cycle continues. You learn the passions of types and you learn how those passions will manifest. And only then you can understand the behaviors, because the passion creates a behavior. They might not even be aware of it. To them, it's just a normal state of who they are. But from an outside perspective, you see the passion. That's the thing. Learn the passion of each type, learn of the fixation of each type, and then you can learn the behaviors. Read the books, understand the behaviors. Boom, you have a big picture understanding of the type. So that's it from me for today. Let me know down below what you guys think of the video. If you do agree with this kind of approach, or do you already apply it, or you think you slacking in that department. Anyway, let me know. I'm out, I'm Charles, and I'm bouncing.